If you've ever watched it movie, you probably remember that smile, that wide, painted grin, and those eyes, cold, ancient, hungry. But what if I told you that Pennywise wasn't just born from Stephen King's imagination? There was something terrifyingly real. Because before Pennywise ever haunted Derry, something like him haunted us. It was 1984 when Stephen King sat down in his dark office in Bangor. He wondered, what if there was something ancient, older than time itself, that fed on fear, and so it was born. A creature that could shapeshift into your worst nightmare. But most famously, it chose to become a clown. And he was right. But here's where things get darker. Because when King created Pennywise, there was a real man doing the exact same thing, only without the red balloon. Between 1972 and 1978, in a quiet Chicago suburb, there lived a man who seemed to be the definition of normal. John Wayne Gacy was the kind of neighbor everyone trusted, cheerful, hard-working, and always ready to lend a hand. He owned a small contracting business, joined local charity events, and loved throwing community barbecues. Parents invited him over. Kids laughed when he came around. No one could have imagined what was hiding behind his smile. By day, Gacy was a respected businessman, but on weekends, he became something else. Pogo the Clown. He designed the costume himself, the oversized shoes, the bright red nose, the painted grin that stretched too wide to be comforting. He'd visit hospitals dressed as Pogo, making balloon animals for sick children, and posing for photos at birthday parties. He said it made him feel young again, that he loved making kids happy. People believed him. Why wouldn't they? He was the friendly neighborhood clown, a symbol of joy. But behind the mask was something deeply inhuman. Inside that same cheerful house where he hosted block parties, Gacy kept a horrifying secret. Late at night, he prowled the streets, picking up teenage boys and young men, often offering them work, money, or just a friendly ride home. Once they stepped inside his house, they never left again. He would lure them in with jokes, drinks, even magic tricks. He called one of his routines the handcuff trick. He'd put one cuff on his victim, then lock the other on himself, only to pull out the key with a grin. "You're not getting out," he'd whisper. Then the laughter stopped. For years, boys vanished from the area. Some runaways, some local teens, but no one connected the dots. Gacy seemed too normal, too helpful, too safe. Parents even asked him to help search for missing kids he had already killed. That's how invisible his evil was. By 1978, the smell from his house had become unbearable. He told people it was just plumbing problems. But when a 15-year-old boy named Robert Piest disappeared after telling a friend he was going to see Gacy about a job, police began to look closer. After weeks of investigation, search warrants were finally issued. And what they found still chills detectives to this day. Underneath the floorboards of his crawlspace were bodies, dozens of them, layer after layer. Some wrapped in plastic, others buried directly in the dirt. In total, 29 bodies were discovered under his home, with several more buried elsewhere. Many of the victims were never identified. Their families never got closure. When Gacy was arrested, he smiled calmly, almost proudly, as if the whole thing was a misunderstanding. During interrogation, he claimed to have no memory of the murders, then shifted blame to an alternate personality. But when reporters shouted questions at him, Gacy smirked and said, "Clowns can get away with murder." He wasn't joking. He genuinely believed he was untouchable. The story horrified America. People couldn't understand how a man who dressed up to entertain children could also be a sadistic killer. The clown suit became a symbol of pure dread. Parents who once hired clowns for birthdays stopped doing so. The painted face of Pogo became an image that haunted the nation's collective memory. And while Stephen King never officially said that John Wayne Gacy inspired Pennywise, the connection is almost impossible to ignore. The timeline fits Gacy's arrest, dominated the news right before King began writing it. Both monsters hide behind charm. Both prey on the innocent, and both show how evil can disguise itself in something meant to bring joy. A smiling face, a trusting laugh, and beneath it, something ancient, cold, and hungry. Gacy's crimes left scars far beyond his neighborhood. They changed how people saw clowns forever. The character once meant for laughter now triggered fear. Movie studios noticed it. Writers noticed it. That fear became part of our culture, and out of that fear, Pennywise was born. A monster who doesn't need to hide under the bed, because he can walk right up to your door with balloons in his hand and a grin on his face. Gacy was executed by lethal injection in 1994. His last words were chillingly ordinary. "Kiss my ass." Even at the end, he treated death like a performance, just another show. But the terror he created never died. Every time a clown walks into a room, a part of his legacy lingers. Every time you see that red balloon in a sewer, a faint voice whispers from the past, reminding us that sometimes the scariest monsters aren't fictional at all. They live next door, they smile at you in daylight, and they wear the mask of kindness to hide the darkness underneath. King's fictional town, Derry, Maine, wasn't made up. It was based on his own hometown. Bangor, he used to walk near the sewers as a kid, staring down into the darkness, and imagine something living down there. Watching, in it, the sewers are where Pennywise sleeps, waiting for children to pass by, whispering to them from the drains. But did you know that Bangor actually had reports of missing kids and mysterious drownings during King's youth? Rumors of something evil in the water. He took that memory, that chill, and built an entire mythology around it. Derry represents every small town that hides something. A secret everyone ignores. A smile painted over rot. Here's the truth. Most casual viewers don't know. Pennywise isn't really a clown. That's just his favorite disguise. In King's lore, it is an ancient being, a creature from another dimension that fell to Earth millions of years ago. It feeds every 27 years, emerging from the sewers to devour children because their fear is pure, stronger. When it's not hunting, it sleeps, and the town itself seems to forget the horror. This explains why, in the story, adults never see what the kids see. It's not just physical, it's psychological. It controls perception, twisting reality itself. But here's the most chilling part. King said he came up with the idea while driving past a wooden bridge near his home. He thought of the old fairy tales, trolls that lived under bridges, and wondered what that troll would look like in modern America. Answer: a clown. Because in the modern world, monsters don't hide in forests. They hide in plain sight. Fear of clowns is one of the most common phobias in the world. It's called coulrophobia. But why? Psychologists say it's because clowns break the rules of human expression. You can't read them. The smile is painted permanent, even when the person behind it isn't smiling. The makeup exaggerates human features, pushing them just past the point of comfort. Our brains detect it as wrong, almost human, but not quite. And that's where fear thrives. Pennywise weaponizes that instinct. He lures children by acting friendly, a red balloon, a smile, a laugh, and then strikes when their guard is down. In reality, John Wayne Gacy did the same thing. His victims trusted the clown, because how could a clown be dangerous? Here's where fiction and reality blur completely. After it released, there were reports from multiple US states, people claiming to have seen clowns in forests, near playgrounds, even standing by sewer grates. Police departments from Chicago to North Carolina investigated these sightings. Most turned out to be pranks, but some were never explained. In 2016, the creepy clown phenomenon swept across America. Schools shut down. Parents kept kids inside. It was as if Pennywise had returned, not in theaters, but on the streets. Even scarier, one of the earliest real-life killer clown reports came from Florida in 1990, right when the IT miniseries premiered. A woman was shot at her front door by someone wearing a clown costume. The case went cold for decades. So maybe Pennywise never left. Maybe he just changed faces. King's genius wasn't just creating a killer clown. He created a mirror. Because Pennywise represents our evil, our apathy, our ignorance. In It movie. The adults ignore the missing children. They pretend everything's fine. They forget. Just like we ignore real monsters in our world. Killers who hide behind charm, abuse, and laughter. All smiling faces are all monsters underneath. Pennywise doesn't just feed on fear. He is fear, the kind that grows when good people look away. When you finish It, Chapter 2, you see Pennywise defeated. But is he really gone? Stephen King once hinted that it may not have died, just gone dormant, and in a way he's right. Because every generation has its own version of Pennywise, a shape-shifting evil that feeds on fear and attention. The difference now, he doesn't need a sewer. He has the internet. He has cameras. He has us watching. Pennywise isn't just a story about a killer clown. It's a warning. A reminder that monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they wear makeup. Sometimes they smile. Sometimes they knock on your door with a red balloon in hand. And when you hear that faint laugh from the drain, don't look down. Because maybe, just maybe, he's still there, waiting.